Should I do? Ooh. Sly loses all meaning. Hello everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope everyone is doing well. Today we have a fun video that I have been looking forward to all year. Truly, I've been looking forward to this video all year. Today we're gonna do my 2023 reading wrapped. We're gonna go through every book that I read this year. I'm gonna give you how many stars I gave it, my rating, my overall review, whether or not I would recommend it, all that kind of stuff. This year I read 16 books, which is a little bit shy of my goal. I'm hoping to finish another one before the year officially ends. I'm filming this on December 26th, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. It's right after Christmas. And I hope to have this up by December 31st. That is the goal. I want this to be on the last day of the year, the last thing that I do, and hopefully I finish a book in between now and then. But yeah, Christmas just passed, so I hope everyone had good holidays and everything like that. I'm currently wearing one of my Christmas presents, a little Taylor Swift sweatshirt. It's very cute, it's very cozy. And I also have my new little slippers on, which is kind of slay. And I also am filming this on my new camera. So hopefully it's good and the quality is better than it usually is. But yeah, we're just gonna hop right into it. I have a pile of 16 books right here because luckily I have physical copies of almost every single book that I've read. Tragically, I don't have one of them, but we're gonna go in order. I have my reading list on my Notion. As you can see, my 2023 reading list, these are all of the books that I finished. Ignore all of those. And then I just actually finished The Lightning Thief. Okay, so we're gonna go in order. We're gonna start at the beginning of the year. We're gonna work our way up and we're gonna see how it goes. So let's get into it. The first books that I read this year was actually a series. I think I documented it in the videos from the beginning of the year, but it was the Cruel Prince series, which actually, what is this series called? It's like I don't know. This series was the first series that I read this year. It's a trilogy, The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. These books, they're YA. They're so good. Genuinely, like some of the best YA fantasy I think I've ever read. There's a reason that these books are so popular. They're truly amazing. I literally could not put them down. Like I think I read these in like a matter of days. Like it was crazy. And that's like a lot of pages to read in a couple days. The Wicked King was my favorite out of all three of them. The Cruel Prince was my second favorite and The Queen of Nothing was my least favorite. That's not saying that it wasn't good. It was just my least favorite. I'm not saying I didn't like it. It was just my least favorite. I gave the first two books 5 out of 5. I gave The Queen of Nothing 4 out of 5. I believe I actually have my ratings in my little app. Oh, what? Okay, according to this, I gave The Cruel Prince 4 stars, I gave The Wicked King 5 stars, and I gave The Queen of Nothing 4 stars. These kind of follow this girl named Jude who kind of gets taken to this fairyland when she's very young, and she grows up in this fairyland, and it kind of just is about her power struggle and about her kind of not feeling enough, basically, because she's like half fairy and the rest of her family is full fairy and she's like, oh, I don't really belong. There's also like an enemies to lovers romance. There's a lot of really good like messages in these books. There's a lot of good battle scenes, which I really love. There's one in particular that is just like, it's just so good. Like these books are excellent. Holly Black did a good job. So we started out the year strong. The next book that I read was actually, I don't have a physical copy of it, but it was Born a Crime. Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I had to read this book for school, and to be honest, that is probably the reason that I only gave it 3 stars. It's a really good book, but when I have to read something for school, I just don't want to read it. It's an autobiography by Trevor Noah about his time growing up under apartheid as a mixed race person living in South Africa. It's a really good book. Like it's funny, it's heartfelt, like it's a good book, but because I had to read it for a class, I just like gave it a lower score, which is kind of not fair, but it's just the obligation makes me not want to read shit. So yeah, that was the next one, Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. I highly recommend if you're into autobiographies. I don't love autobiographies, but it was a good one. But yes, moving on. The 5th book that I read this year is one that I will be thinking about probably for the rest of my life. and probably maybe my favorite book of the year. The next book that I read was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This book, there is a reason that it's so popular among so many different generations of people. If you don't know what this book is about, it's basically about this group of kind of misfit college students. Yeah, they're at an elite New England college, and they learn Greek, and they just kind of like are kind of heinous. They're just like cause problems. They like, it's a very literate book. This book is literature. Like, when you think of the word literature and like the connotations of that word, this book is what I think of. It's a lot of big words that you have to Google. It's like, it's just so high level and high thinking. It's high society problems. There's class struggles. There's like psychological and sociological like struggles. This book is so complex, and it is long, and it is difficult to read, but it is very good. It is life-changing, actually. The things that happen in this book, like, it truly is just, it's so good. It's a world-renowned book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend that you read it. I'm pretty sure I had to have. I give this one 5 out of 5 stars. Like, this book is incredible. I do think, if I could have it my way, I'd probably give it 4.5 out of 5 stars, only because I think I read it too quickly, and I think that I need to go back and kind of reread it with knowing what I know about the book already to make it more accessible for me, I guess, because it is a tough read. Moving right along though, we have, you know what, this is my favorite series of the, well, it's hard. It's really between this and the first one. I have the Alex Stern series by Leigh Bardugo, Ninth House, and Hellbent. These are my next 2 reads. I cooked through these books, dude. Like, I absolutely cooked through them. Ninth House, I think I read in like 2 days. I have the dates on here. Okay, so that's about a week and a half I read this one. Hellbent I read in 3 days, and it's significantly longer. So this is basically a story of this girl named Alex Stern, and she basically figures out the like magical hidden society at Yale, and it's so good. There are so many people that I know who didn't like this book, like just thought it was dry, and I just disagree. I think this book is genuinely fantastic. There's a lot of magic and fantasy. It's definitely fantasy at the heart of it, but there's also there's different kind of relationships, kind of like familial feeling relationships and romantic relationships. There's like this also kind of battle for power and battle for like disproving what you think you were supposed to belong to. Yeah, she's also got a really complex backstory. She's a very good character. Leigh Bardugo knows how to write books. Like, that's all I'll say. She knows how to write books, and she's damn good at it, and she knows how to create characters. She's the same author of the Six of Crows series, which a lot of people are in love with. It was just excellent. It was really good. I give this one a 5 out of 5 for sure. Hellbent is the sequel. This was actually, I think, voted Goodreads Fantasy Book of the Year by the general public, which is cool. Yeah, this is just kind of an extension of the first book. It's very, same characters. You learn a lot more about Alex. There's a lot more dynamic, I think, in this one. Even though I do prefer Ninth House, I think this one, it's a good sequel. Like, it's a very good sequel. I do think that the world building in this book is just unlike any other. Like, it is so good. I could literally, I can still picture exactly what I was picturing and what I felt when I was reading these books. I gave Ninth House 5 stars, and I gave Hellbent 5 stars. So I gave both of these 5 stars. They're very good. I would highly recommend you read them. They're excellent. I'll leave it at that. The next book that I read this year this is one of my favorites, actually. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I believe that this just got turned into a movie, actually, which, hey, why is there no promotion on that? This book is really cute. It's young adult fiction, like, it's so, I think I read this book in literally I read this book in a day. I devoured it. It's young adult fiction, like you really truly can't go wrong. It's just so good. It's about Dante and Aristotle, or Ari, and it's just kind of about the relationship and bond that they form while they go through, you know, their young adult lives. I devoured this book, basically. Obviously I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I've also read this book before. It's really it's just so nostalgic. Like, this just feels like summer when you are a teenager, like a young teen or like a preteen. Like, that is what this book feels like. So definitely go read this or go watch the movie. The next one, holy fuck, this book is fantastic. This one is less young adult, but it's equally as good. So this one is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. As you can see by my annotations, I absolutely devoured this fucking book. It is so good. It's also queer, which I did not know when I was reading it. This is basically about this guy who works for this magical society, the department in charge of magical youth, and he's got a really boring life, but he gets summoned to this island that he's supposed to shut down because the Department of Magical Youth thinks that it shouldn't really be, it's kind of like an orphanage, and they think that they shouldn't be in operation anymore. But then the main character, Linus, sees the magic of this town and sees the magic of their leader. His name is Arthur. They fall in love, of course. It's very cute. There's a bunch of really cute kids who are also like magical. Like, it's just very cool. It's a very cool book. TJ Klune has become my favorite author because of this book. And I just think the world building in this book is just so crazy. And like the themes of found family, like, it's just so good. This book just made me feel a lot. It was very like emotional, I guess. And I'm very thankful for that, especially like Ari and Dante and this one following like a pretty heavy go of fantasy, you know, with the 2 series, and then also like the Secret History. I needed some lighter books, so definitely lucky to have read this one. It's really good. Go pick it up. The next book is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This book I really did not think I was going to like, because this is the same author who wrote Beach Read, and I did not like Beach Read very much, mainly because it took me a really long time to read, and I was just like, oh my god, like, let's just get on with it. Book Lovers was completely different, and I really liked it. It's about these two, Nora Stevens is this book publisher. She went to the city from her little sister's favorite book. She meets this other guy who she met with in the past and hated, and he hated her, but they meet up again in this small town and they kind of form this unlikely friendship and then also a romance. And it's really complex because it not only deals with this main character and her like drive and kind of stubbornness for work and for kind of doing things that don't really fulfill her, in contrast to her sister, who's not like that at all. Like, she has a family and, you know, she's like much more kind of home family focused. And it kind of deals with the dynamic between the 2 sisters and the issues that they have, also this relationship that's forming, and the individual characters as well, which I think is really nice. But I really like it. It's just like a bunch of kind of fate coincidences where like they're both in this small town at the same time, and they're both at this coffee shop, and they both find each other in this bookstore. Like, it's very cute. It's just a very cute summer romance. Emily Henry's books just kind of belong in summer. So if you're gonna read this, read it in the summer, because that's when I read it and it was very nice. The next book that I read, oh my god, these books are so good. The next book that I read was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I put off reading this book for a really long time because I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo last year, and I was like, oh, I love this book so much. I feel like I'm not gonna like her other work as much, especially because I had tried to read One True Loves and I didn't love it. It wasn't my favorite. So picking up Malibu Rising, I was kind of fearful, but I also know that a lot of people love this book. So I was like, okay, I feel kind of good about that. I read it. My life is forever changed. This book is one that I will be reading again for sure. It's basically the story of this really complex family. The kids all have very different lives and they go about them, and it's just kind of about the collide of their lives at this big party that the main character Nina throws, and it's just so dramatic. It's so dramatic. I love it. There's fist fights, there's arguments, there's tears, there's forgiveness, there's divorce, there's marriage. Like, it's such a complex book, and like the relationship between these siblings is just so good. I devoured this book. I read it in literally a week and a half again. Like, I loved this book. I gave it 5 stars. I think it's an excellent, excellent read. And there's a lot of really good morals here about like family dynamics and things like that. So if you're looking for a book like that, go pick this up. Taylor Jenkins Reid has cemented herself as one of my favorite authors, next to TJ Klune, because she's just so amazing. So go pick this one up for sure. I really loved this book. All right, this is kind of when from book lovers forward, I kind of entered, or no, yeah, I guess. I kind of entered my like romance era. I never do that. I usually stick to fantasy books, pretty much. Fantasy or just like straight up fiction. But this year was pretty heavy on romance. The next book that I read was Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and I loved this book. This book is written these 2 kids who basically have known each other since they were like baby children. These kids knew each other when they were kids, and then they grow up and their paths cross again, and they are still just like madly in love with each other. And it's just so like, there's so much drama, because like, why did they leave each other's lives in the first place? Why haven't they, I think there's an 11-year gap between the last time they saw each other and then like the present day. What was that conflict like how did they get affected by it and all that kind of stuff. It's really cute. Like I said, it flips timelines between when they're kids and when they're adults, and it's really cute. It's a really cute story. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars because I really liked it. It was really cute. To be fair, I do throw out 5-star books like all the time because I'm not super picky and I like a lot of different books. This one was really good. The next one is another little romance. This is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Similar to Book Lovers, I was not really expecting to like this one very much, but I kind of devoured this one. I read this one in 9 days. This girl, she has an evil twin, and she also has a really grumpy man who knows the evil twin. Okay, basically this girl goes to this town where the evil twin of hers has gotten in trouble. So the whole town thinks that this girl, Naomi, is her evil twin, Tina. And then this man named Knox Morgan. Basically, Knox thinks that Naomi is Tina when they first meet. And he's like, oh, I don't fucking like you. You're a hot mess. And then they have this really cool, like, grumpy sunshine dynamic. And then, I cannot believe I just said that out loud. It is very grumpy sunshine. And then there's also a lot of character development things where this girl came to this town because she was running away from leaving her fiance at the altar. And so there's a lot of things that happen in her life where she has to deal with that. She has to deal with her family. She's got to deal with her twin. She also ends up dealing with Knox and his brother and their family and their weird relationships. It's a lot more than just like a surface level romance. This one is not like that. There's a lot more happening. There's a lot more meat, much more dynamic, if you will. This next book might have been, and to be honest, probably was my favorite single book that I read this year, A Marvelous Light by Freya Marsk. This book was so good. I'm thinking back on it and I really, really loved this one. It kind of reminded me of The House in the Cerulean Sea, but darker. It's kind of a darker version of that book because it is still gay. But there's a lot more that happens in this book, and I love it. I loved it. It's about this guy who works a very average job, but then gets promoted to a part-time position where he finds out that there's a lot of magic and mystery going on behind the scenes of what he's used to. And then he kind of has to, oh yeah, he gets a crazy curse. This book was so good, you guys. I'm remembering. This is my favorite read of the year. This book is so fucking good. He's cursed and he meets this man named Edwin who like is his partner that he works with, and it's kind of like an enemies to lovers thing where they don't really like each other and then they fall in love, as you can see by the cover. Because Edwin used to work with this other man, but then the other man disappeared, and so they're trying to find out why he disappeared and what happened. There's a bunch of stuff that happens. There's a big house, there's a piano and a maze, and it's all so cool. This book does world building and fantasy very well. So this is my favorite read of the year. Next, we have a book that I have read before, but I read it again, digitally this time, because the movie came out. Red, White, and Royal Blue used to be one of my favorite books of all time, but now that I've read more, this one's kind of been deep down a little bit, but it's still a really cute book and it's still very good. It's nice and got a healthy dose of politics in it. Yeah, The Forbidden Queer Romance. If you don't know what this book is about at this point, you should probably just Google it because it truly is everywhere. Basically these two, this son of the President of the United States and the Prince of Wales, they hate each other, but then all of a sudden they really like each other. And then they're meeting in secret and they're sending all these emails, and then the emails get leaked. And then what will they do? What will their fate be? Finally, my most recent read of the year, so recent that I just finished it about 20 minutes ago, is, this is a nostalgic one, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, book 1, The Lightning Thief. Okay, as we all know, the Percy Jackson and the Olympians show just came out on Disney Plus, starring Walker Scobell. He's so talented. I think he's great, and he's like 14 years old. Like, what the actual fuck? I just got done. Well, I didn't actually read the physical copy of this one. I did just pick these up at Barnes & Noble today, but I listened to the audiobook of this book, and it's so good. Rick Riordan just really knows how to write books. This book came out in 2005, like it's not new. I don't need to tell you how good it is, you know how good it is. This is a childhood classic for people who are my age. I read these books in my school library when I was like in 3rd through 5th grade. Like I remember reading these books. I love them, I still love them. The show is making me like emotional to think about, and I genuinely am obsessed. And I think that this book is so good, and it's such good juvenile fiction, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. And the original covers are so beautiful, and I know that they're changing them now for the show, I think. So get your original covers while you still can, because this girl is not a fan of movie covers. Super easy read, it's literally meant for kids. Read Percy Jackson, you guys. This will restore your faith in humanity, I promise. Anyways, that is all from me for this little 2023 reading wrapped. I've been waiting to do this video all year long, so I'm really excited that y'all watched and hopefully were interested in that venture. That is all from me, folks. Merry Christmas, happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas, and I will catch y'all next year in 2024. What do you mean it's 2024? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I've never heard of that before. But yeah, I love y'all. Stay safe, and I'll see you when I see you.